let me add my welcome to our members, our partners, our friends, our guests, to everyone to day 2 of the 2022 Chartered Banker Institute Annual Banking Conference. Now, the theme this year is, as I hope we're all well aware by now, whether you were with us yesterday or you've heard from Joy and Simone already, the theme is responsible banking, both in terms of supporting the UN principles of responsible banking that Simone introduced so effectively, but in that wider sense too that we heard from our president, Steve Pateman, on our panel yesterday, that wider sense of a banking profession with socially purposeful, ethically professional, customer-focused banking at its heart that has long formed the basis for our Institute's ethos and approach to banking. And so the sessions on responsible banking values today builds on yesterday's topic, led by Steve and that wonderful panel chaired by our colleague and friend, Professor Aditya Singh, which looked at the relevance of responsible banking in a world that has definitely become more challenging geopolitically and economically, seems to become more challenging by the day, in fact. But let's remind ourselves that it's when times are tough for individuals, households and firms, it's when times are tough for customers and communities. That's when socially purposeful, responsible banking, delivered by customer-focused, ethically professional bankers, by chartered bankers like ourselves, by our 33,000 members, by the members of our partner institutes all around the world, that's when it becomes more necessary than ever. And by this, I mean banks, bankers, and banking that support society's goals expressed globally in the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Climate Agreement, most notably. So tackling our greatest global challenges, and also banks, bankers, and banking that support the more immediate needs of households, firms, and communities, especially those struggling with the cost of living crisis affecting many countries. Now, Simone mentioned, we, together with our colleagues at UNEP-FI and GIZ, launched the PRB Academy, which went live on Monday to help develop and embed this idea, this ethos of responsible banking by building the capacity, capabilities, the cultures of the 300 PRB banks and banks worldwide more generally. Now, this is a hugely ambitious undertaking, providing education and training to help banks develop and sustain strong, purposeful cultures aligned with UN principles on our own institute's code of professional conduct. But I think we have to be ambitious if we want to align banking with society's goals. We have to be ambitious if we are to meet the needs of households, firms, and communities. We have to be ambitious if we are to create genuine, shared, and sustainable prosperity for all. That's shared and sustainable prosperity for both current and future generations. Now, there's both a strong ethical case for responsible banking based on stewardship of the environment and society, and a strong commercial case for it too. I hope that's one area the panel might go into in a few moments. And that commercial case is based on the accurate pricing of climate, environmental, other sustainability risks, and also the identification of the financial opportunities for lending to and investment in low carbon firms and sectors, and especially to households and firms transitioning from high to low carbon. The financing this whole economy transition requires the rapid and sustained decarbonisation of lending and investment portfolios and a substantial redeployment of global capital. In fact, it requires a fundamental realignment of the finance sector. So to UN Special Envoy Mark Carney's words, every professional financial decision takes climate change into account. Let's just pause and consider the implications of that for a moment as our objective for banking and finance overall, to get to a point where every professional financial decision takes climate change into account. And I'd argue broader environmental and social sustainability factors too. That's every lending and investment decision, every risk assessment, every customer conversation, every product and service we design, every professional action, every professional engagement we undertake, all need to take sustainability into account. And if that's the objective, this will shape all of our careers, all of our daily professional practice, and the values on which these are based. Responsible banking values, those values aligned with achieving society's goals. And in turn, this will shape the strategies, the activities, the operations, and the cultures of the banks we lead or aspire to lead for many years to come. Hence the need for us, that's our institute, and the banking profession as a whole, to be incredibly ambitious about building our capacity and capabilities, about the education and training needed to do this. Because to pass what I call the Carney test, if every professional financial decision is to include sustainability, then every banking and finance professional needs to develop their knowledge and understanding of sustainability and responsible banking to the extent relevant to their role and organization. And then this needs to be applied to advise, to finance, to support customers and communities as they transition to more sustainable, low carbon business models. Now, I don't want to scare people. The good news is we don't all need to become climate change and sustainability experts. We're not trying to build a finance profession where every banker holds a PhD in climate modeling. What we need and what we're working to achieve at the Chartered Banker Institute and through the PRB Academy is a banking profession where banks and bankers focus on what we do best. That's transforming unproductive savings into productive lending and investment. In this case, in the new firms, the sectors, the technologies we need for a more climate resilient, sustainable world, and supporting the transition of existing sectors and firms from high to low carbon models. And that needs a knowledge of sustainability to become part of all banking professionals' overall skill set, alongside the traditional areas of credit and lending, risk, regulation, operations, and so on. That knowledge of sustainability applied in the context of the individual's role, whether as a frontline relationship manager, as a credit analyst, in marketing and technology, or in risk and compliance. So that over that longer term, we develop a strong, socially purposeful culture of responsible banking. And that culture is developed and embedded so that every professional financial decision does take climate change and sustainability into account at all levels of the organization, in all organizations, everywhere. Now, this is a hugely ambitious undertaking, but we have to be ambitious if we're to align banking with society's goals, if we are to meet the needs of households, firms, and communities, if we are to create genuine, shared, and sustainable prosperity for all, if we are to develop and embed responsible banking values and a culture of responsible banking professionalism across banking worldwide. I very much hope you'll all join me and my colleagues at the Chartered Banker Institute and at the PRB Academy and at our many partner institutes around the world on what I think is an ambitious, exciting, and above all, very, very necessary journey. Thank you very much.